Hi friends, Colby Sharp here. I am so excited to talk to you about Read Aloud. I've been wanting to make a video about how I choose books to read aloud, and then I started planning for that video, and then I said, I kind of want to just talk about Read Aloud first and maybe make that video down the road. So that one will be coming. 5 ways I select to read aloud will be coming next. But today I just want to talk about the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how Read Aloud works with me, works in my life, works in my classroom. But before we get started, I want you to share with me a book that you remembered an adult reading aloud to you. Leave that down in the comments below. Let me know about a book that a teacher, a parent, a caregiver, someone read aloud to you when you were growing up. All right, let's go. So when I was planning for this video, I thought it would be cool to be like one of those cool YouTubers who put like the overlay on the screen, because now I'm going to talk about the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how. So like when I talked about the what, like this cool what graphic would show up on the screen. So we don't have that today because I'm very tired and busy, but instead we have this, the what. The what. So for me, the what is just read aloud. That is what we're doing. What it looks like is I am reading a story to all of my students at the same time. They are listening. We're talking about the book. We're discussing the book. We are falling in love with the book. There's not a test. There's not responses all the time. It's not they're following along in the book. The what is me reading them a story. Who? I'm a 5th grade teacher. My name is Mr. Sharp. I read a lot of books, like a lot of books. Who you are as a reader and who you are as a person impacts Read Aloud. My kids know that this is important to me. They know that reading is like impacted the soul and the fabric of the person that I am. I talk about my reading life. I share my reading life. I share the books that I love. I share the books that I don't love. They know me to be a reader. So when I say that this book is worth our time, this book is worth what we're going to do, and they see my excitement, it helps the Read Aloud to go so much better, because the person who's doing it, the who, cares tremendously about books. I think that that is so huge. I'm not doing it to check it off a list. I'm doing it because it is special. It is amazing. The who in Read Aloud matters. How? Now I could talk about a lot of different things with how, but what I'm going to talk about is how do I fit it into my day? Right? There's a million things we have to do. We have to give all kinds of assessments, all kinds of different things. We have to make sure we fit in, right? People are always piling more things on us to do. People are never taking things off us. So the how is I just do it. It's the very first thing that I put in my plans. In the summer, it's the very first thing that I'm thinking about when thinking about the next school year. What am I going to read first? How I do it is I make it a priority. And we make time for the things that matter. And that gets me to the next part in our little who, what, when, where, why, how party. When. Now, I don't think there is necessarily a right and a wrong answer to when we do Read Aloud. I have done Read Aloud probably, you have a 7-ish hour day. I have probably done Read Aloud at almost at all points of the day throughout the year, throughout the day, just depending on the year, depending on my schedule, when specials are, how long I have kids, if we have like a little break between things, like I've done it all. So I guess I'll go with the when this year. When I read aloud is the very first thing in the morning. Kids come in, they have some things that they're doing when they're starting, they're eating breakfast, they're talking, they have some choices that they can do. But the very first thing that they do with me is read aloud. We are in the middle of a global pandemic. The kids are wearing masks. We are separated. You can see they're all separated. Usually we're in groups and the room looks a lot different. I wanted to make sure that Read Aloud happened no matter what. If one thing gets done today, it will be that I read aloud to my students. Regardless of what happens, we will read aloud. We do it first. We put first things first. So that is the win. And now maybe next year, I'll do it after lunch or before lunch or at the end of reading time or as a break in the afternoon from between subjects. The win changes all the time. Just whatever works for that classroom and that teacher, and most importantly, those kids. So right now we're doing the very first thing. A little after 9 every single morning, I am reading aloud to these amazing humans. The where. So usually when I do this, I'm reading to them on the carpet. So there's actually like a carpet would be right up here in the front of our classroom, and it would be lined with couches and benches and chairs. Some kids would sit on the carpet. It would be kind of like in a circle so we could all see each other, we could all talk. But we're trying to maintain social distancing as much as humanly possible this year. So I actually sit where the camera's sitting, right here in this corner of my classroom, and they sit in their desk. It's weird. I was worried about it. I thought Read Aloud wouldn't be the same. And it's not exactly the same, but it's still just as magical. It's still phenomenal. It's still one of the best parts of every single day. The where has changed, but it's still a Read Aloud, and they still seem to be getting just as much as they have in the past. Finally, I will leave you with our why we read aloud. I have had the privilege and the honor of traveling this country, talking to educators about reading. Almost every time that I go somewhere, I ask teachers to share their reading life. Tell me about how they became a reader, what led them to being a teacher, what made them this great reader who even goes to reading conferences and wants to learn more. And the number one answer every single time that I speak is reading aloud. Every single time someone shares about a teacher that read aloud to them, they share about a caregiver that read aloud to them, they share a time when a librarian read aloud to them. I have not seen anything bring more people to books and a love and a joy and success in reading than having someone read aloud to someone else. And that's the why. You know, I can teach kids about theme, I can teach kids how to summarize, I can teach kids how to use context clues, I can teach them all kinds of important things in their development as a reader. But if I want them to be the best reader that they can be, and I want them to get out of reading what I get out of reading, I need to make them love it. I need to make them fall madly in love with reading and fall madly in love with a book. And for me, what I found, and what the teachers and librarians and principals across this country have told me, is that reading aloud is one of the most important ways, one of the most important things, one of the most memorable things, something that we can point to and touch that gets people to fall in love with reading. So for as long as I teach, as long as I'm a parent, someday if I get the honor and joy of becoming a grandparent, reading aloud will be important to me. It will matter to me. It will be something that I focus in on as I try to help develop kids into lovers of reading. I hope that you get a chance to read aloud to kids. It is one of the great joys in this world. It is one of the things that, as the world is falling apart, one of the things that holds true as magical. A time for us to get lost in a book, a time for us to get lost in a story, a time for us to travel to faraway lands, an opportunity for us to learn more about the world and to learn more about ourselves. Reading aloud matters more than ever. So whether you're watching this video today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, whenever it is that you're watching this video, if you have an opportunity, read aloud to a kid. Read aloud a story, share that story with them. It is one of the most effective things that we have to help kids develop a love for reading. My name is Colby Sharp. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day.